Hey everyone, it's Lindsay and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a really exciting video. I am going to be going over my royalty statement with you guys. I mentioned doing something like this in a video recently and you guys were so excited in the comments. I got so many people wanting to see this that I was like, oh yeah, no, I definitely have to make a video about this. So in today's video, I have pulled up my latest royalty statement. I have 3 books contracted with Scholastic. 2 of them were in one deal and then the third one is by itself. You'll get to see how that looks in the statements here and how everything's broken down, all the math, all the good stuff, all the tea. A question you might ask, what is a royalty statement? A royalty statement is for traditionally published authors. They get this statement from their publishing house, usually bi-yearly, and it shows a list of all of your sales, all of the territories it was sold to, and it's kind of like a pay stub in a way. I'm going to try to explain terms and things the best I can as we go along, but if you have any questions, feel free to leave them below and I will get to them in the best way I know how. You guys know I like to be really transparent with you guys and kind of help pull back the veil on traditional publishing because it is so mysterious, especially the money side and the sales side. I'm really hoping this kind of like enlightens some of you, helps you prepare if this is a path that you're looking to go towards. I am going to be pretty transparent. I'm going to be sharing all of the information with like my sales, how much I make on books per book sold. The only thing I'm not going to be sharing with you is the advance amount that I got paid up front by my publisher. And I know there's already going to be someone in the comments, his name is always Robert, who's going to yell at me for not sharing how much I got paid from my publisher. I know, but like here's the thing, Robbie, Dicky boy, you're not entitled to know how much money I got paid. And like it's a weird thing, I know, but I just, at this point in my career, I'm such a brand new baby author. I am not comfortable sharing widely the amount of money that I got paid up front. Like it's just such a kind of a sticky situation. I still have a relationship with this publisher. I'm still selling books to this publisher. Maybe later in my career where I have a little bit of space, I've worked with other houses, I feel a little bit more secure where I am, I will feel comfortable sharing those numbers. Today is not that day. The point of this video is so that you can physically see what a royalty statement looks like page by page and how the facts are laid out. So please, Robert, don't yell at me. I'm a millennial, I'll cry. We've had it hard enough. But yeah, now I'm gonna jump over and take you to my screen and let's just get started. Here we are. I've got you in Canva just because this is where I've kind of had it, you know, so that I can blur out some of my personal information. And it's just basically saying, hey, this is your royalty statement, and if you are due any royalties, then they will be sent to you. And then we go into page 2, which is the royalty statement summary here. On the left here, you can see my 3 books, The Glass Witch, The Odds, and Bitter Bones. And then we come over here to opening balances. This is going to be the amount left of your advance to earn out at the beginning of this statement, which was July. Now let me stop here for a second and talk about the term earn out. To earn out of a contract just simply means that the amount that the publisher paid you up front, which is an advance, means that you have sold enough books to equal that advance amount, and that is called earning out. So in general terms, if a publishing house paid you $10 for a book, you need to sell $10 worth of books to be able to earn out. At this point, this is when you start to earn royalties, and each book from then on out that you sell, you get a percentage straight to your paycheck, to your inbox, whatever. Then we have royalties from sales activities. This is just the amount of sales that is going towards earning out that royalty this quarter for me. And then over here you have your net balance, which is given this period's current sales, how much is left of your advance to earn out. And then over here, if you have already achieved that earn out stage, you would have money that is going to be paid to you if you're already getting royalties. I am not, as you can see. This payment participant share part is how much of the total amount of sales that I get. In traditional publishing, you usually have an agent, so 15% would be going to her. I get 85. The publisher itself is actually splitting the payments for us, so I don't have to deal with it. Now let's look at the advance summary. This is the next page, and they break this down by contract. So my first contract is with The Glass Witch and The Odds. The total advance commitment is the amount of advance that I got for each book. This next section is the amounts that have been paid. Since this contract is finished, I have been paid the full amount already. This section here is the total amount of royalties that I've earned that have added up towards earning out, and this is the amount of earning out that I have left to do. Now this is the fun part. Let's go to the actual sales breakdown. This is the page where it's actually broken down book by book, the amount of sales that you have and in what format, to who, for how much, etc. It's so fun. I love this part. So we're going to start with The Glass Witch first. As you can see, we're talking about the Glass Witch hardcover. This is first the territories in which it was sold. So right here we're looking at United States and Canada. The channels in which it was sold, trade, sales, market fairs, clubs, things like that. Trade is normal book sales. So if you buy a book from like Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, things like that, that is a trade sale. Because Scholastic has a lot of internal channels, like the the Scholastic Book Fair and the clubs. Bear with me, I'm having some throat problems today, but those also get their own sections here. The next section I want to draw your attention to is activity type. Most of these are either going to be sales themselves or they are returns. Returns means that the bookstore, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Books A Million, whoever has decided that they can't sell whatever stock they already bought, so they are returning it to Scholastic. Also, there is reserved sales released and reserved sales held. The reserved sales is a clause in most publishing contracts where the publisher actually withholds some of the royalties that would go towards earning out your book in the event that bookstores and Amazon and such will return a certain amount of copies. They do this so that they don't end up overpaying the author and losing out money themselves. But as time goes on, those reserves are released, as you can see, and you do get paid out. Okay, forgive me, I had to put in a cough drop. I'm dying, you guys. I don't know what's wrong with me. As you can see here, the amount that was reserved and released was both 20%. Next, we can move over to the price. You can see how much my books are selling for in the territories, as well as the advance rate that I get per sale, both in percent here and then monetarily over here. So yes, every hardcover book that I sell, I only make $1.80 of. This is why in traditional publishing, the advance amount you get up front is so important, because that is really what is going to be paying you through the years. Moving over next, we have the amount of units sold, and then finally the earnings in total for all of that. You can see the total numbers for both the United States and then down here worldwide. I only had sales, I think, in Canada in this version here, but in other royalty statements, when I have sold in other countries, they will show up there. One thing I want to draw your attention to is when things are returned or when reserves are released, they are in these parentheses right here. So you can always know when something is returned or when something is held, it is in parentheses. It means you technically aren't getting that right now. Moving down, I have a couple different versions of the hardcover. For whatever reason, there was a book crate version released for specific fairs. There was a specific package sent to a certain middle school. That's really cool too. Moving on to the next page. Here you can see the ebook sales split in the same way. And then of course, if you have a paperback, they'll show up here. I didn't have any paperback sales because my book is not being printed in paperback, except for the one time that it was printed in paperback in Canada and went hog wild. In the Canadian book fairs. 11,000 copies of that paperback sold. The US just never got on board and printed any paperbacks. What can you do? Next, we have the multimedia. This is pretty much just your audiobook. And then the very last page of this will show you your total for everything all grouped together. So for this sales period with the Glass Witch from July through December of 2024, I sold a total of 56 books. And lifetime wise, I have sold a total of 16,834 books. You can also go over here and see the total earnings. Essentially, that means at the rate of earning $1.80 per book, I have put towards my advance $9,963 at a penny. Can't forget that penny, literally everyone counts, towards earning out that advance. Again, if that happens one day, I will get royalties. However, it is widely known that most authors do not earn out their advance just because it's very, very hard to do, earning $1.80 per book. In the video where I originally brought this up, I talked about the discrepancy between my sales for the odds and the Glass Witch, and how a lot of times publishers will put more push behind the first book in a contract. If it is like a 2 or 3 book contract with multiple books in the deal, they will push really hard the first one, and then depending on how good they think that does, depends on how well they will push the rest. The Glass Witch was bought during the 2021 middle grade boom, when the pandemic was at its height. I feel like all the really fancy authors were moving into middle grade to try to make their name there. So there was a little boom, and I just happened to luck out and sell in it. So I got a rather nice sized advance for my 2 books, The Glass Witch and The Odds. Well, 5 months before The Glass Witch came out, there was this whole shift with Barnes & Noble that really kind of set the tone for middle grade publishing going forward. Instead of all Barnes & Nobles pretty much taking any middle grade hardcover they want, the new owner of Barnes & Nobles decided to change things up and start structuring the stores the way that they are structured in England with Waterstones. There, most of the time, books go to paperback first and they sell a lot better, and then if they sell good enough, then they get a hardcover. In America, it's the opposite. Long story short, the situation was originally when the book was sold, Barnes & Nobles and Scholastic were in conversation, and not just them, Amazon too. Amazon will follow a lot of times what Barnes & Noble is doing, but Scholastic was like, hey, we think the book is gonna sell this many copies, and Barnes & Noble is like, great, we'll take this many copies. And then they do like a gentleman's agreement. There's no contract signed, they just shake hands. And so after that, then Scholastic goes to the printing press and prints all of the books that Barnes & Noble said that they would take. Enter James Daunt. And he was like, psych, We're actually not going to be taking that many hardcovers because especially in children's, hardcovers are a hard sale. So if you have some paperbacks, we'll take those, but not the hardcovers. So then Scholastic was like, oh no, we printed all these hardcovers and now no one wants to buy them. What do we do? And these are just my guesses of what's going on behind the scene. I've never had anyone from Scholastic actually tell me, like, come to me and be like, hey, this is what happened. This is just kind of like me and my agent, my friends just kind of like figured out what was happening, you know, ourselves, speculation from behind the scenes. Yeah, we think that is why that the Glass Witch has kind of been seen as, you know, not selling as much as they had hoped. Even though you saw in the last clip there that, you know, I had almost 17,000 books sold, which is incredible to me. I love that number. Like that is insane. I never thought I would sell even like a couple thousand books. So the fact that I have almost 17,000 people that have bought my book is just, I can't wrap my head around that number. So I'm thrilled with that. And to me, like I'm not a failure at all. It's just some rather unfortunate situations, you know, and such that all came together at the same time. That was out of Scholastic hands even, really, that kind of made this kind of poop shack of a situation. Given all of that, two things kind of happened from this fallout here. Number one, Scholastic has so many hardcovers of the Glass Witch that just aren't selling. It's really hard to put a $17.99 hardcover in a Scholastic book fair because that's so expensive for the kids, you know? Although I guess it is a different price. We can see here it's actually $10.79 or whatever. Still, that's really expensive compared to like a Goosebumps paperback that probably sells for like $4.99. So because of that, a lot of times this was chosen not to go into the fairs, and then when it was in the school book fairs, the kids just, you know, some of them were choosing it, but probably not as many if they had been paperback. And then Canada did print paperbacks and we saw that they sold really well, 11,000 something copies. The problem is I don't think the US team wants to do that because they've already spent so much money on the hardcovers that they can't make themselves spend more money to print a whole bunch more paperbacks. Even if they're selling, they've already kind of like, you know, they're eating the cost essentially of those hardcovers. So and then the second thing that came from that was that there was a lot less of a marketing push for the odds, which is why, as you'll see as I scroll through some of these pages, you'll see that the odds have sold like a quarter of what the Glass Witch has, even though they were bought for the same amount, are in the same contract. And you know, I honestly kind of feel like the odds is a little bit more of a complex, better book. A lot of times that, you know, isn't the most important thing. It is the money behind it sometimes. So anyway, you can see some sales I have and then a ton of returns that I have as well. And the total, when it's in these parentheses, means that there were more returns this quarter than there were sales. Also, Asia, heck yeah, showing up. 30 sales, whoop whoop. And then moving on to the next page, again, we have the ebooks, we have the audiobooks, and then at the very bottom, the cumulative total. So yeah, you can see here at the bottom that I've sold a total of 2,656 books and earned $4,208.59 towards earning out my advance. Now also, I do want to point out here that the earnings here, this is just the amount that I earn towards going towards my advance. This is not how much the books have made in total. We could actually figure that out right now. I don't know like everything, all the behind the scenes numbers and stuff, but just like simple basic math, $17.99, and then we times that by the amount sold, which is 2,656. That's how much has been made in total so far by Scholastic. Again, there might be other numbers going into this, but just like basic, that's how much they have made. I've made the 4,000. Granted, you have to keep in mind I got an advance up front. Let's do it for the Glass Witch too, because I'm nosy. I haven't actually done this in a while. I think I did this when my book first came out and then I haven't done it since. So that's how much they made on the Glass Witch. And I will go ahead and say that that number just for the Glass Witch alone is larger than the advance that I got for both books. So Scholastic has made out. They have made their money back and they are doing fine. Which is why you really can't let publishing dictate your own self-worth, because they can have that much money that they're making and still come to me and say, oh, the book didn't sell as great as we were hoping it would. But with all this in mind, you can kind of be like, okay, that's just like some kind of capitalist machine who is never gonna be happy with anything. So I didn't fail. I wrote a great book. It's selling. People are finding it. And so you just kind of have to keep that in mind, that like you're okay, that publishing is kind of corrupt. And yeah, again, I know these numbers aren't perfect. I know that they are selling when like Amazon, Barnes & Noble buys these books in bulk from them, they probably get them at a lower cost. So this isn't a perfect number. It was just, you know, a real quick little like, let me show you. Even though my earnings are a little bit low, again, I had a really nice advance, so it's not like the absolute worst thing in the world. I do wish it was kind of like the true numbers that you were selling were what was going towards your advance, but it isn't. It's just that tiny little cut amount that you make that goes towards building it up towards getting to your advance. But you know, what can you do? There are obviously a lot of cons to traditional publishing, but there are quite a few pros as well. And even though I'm showing you all of this and it looks like the money is a definite big con, the money up front, the advances, the no questions asked, here you go, big chunk of money is like, it's nice. It's nice. And last but not least, I just wanted to show you the advanced summary for the second contract with Scholastic. This is Bitter Bones. Obviously, I don't have anything here because it's not even out yet. It's not coming out until like the end of next year. But I did want to show you it's here. It's happening. It's really exciting. And that is basically what an advance looks like. I hope you guys found this really enlightening. I know when I first got this, I was like, what are all these numbers? What are all these percentage? What does all this mean? I'm really glad that I had some people in my corner who were, you know, authors who had been around the block a few times that could explain this to me. And I'm glad that I can share this with you and let you guys know what these look like as well. I don't have much voice left, so I hope you got something great from this video. If you liked it, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you'd like to help me out, make these earnings go higher, order links to the glass switch and the odds are always down below. Oh my god, I'm losing my mind. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm gonna try to heal. Also, look how cute this humidifier is. Could you just die? Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching and being here and putting up with gross throat me. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.